Hi, my name's Taylor, and I'm going to walk you through some advanced ERD concepts. Today we're going to be going over primary keys, foreign keys, bridge tables, and then really understanding how ER diagrams help you see exactly what's going on in your database. So let's start where we left off, with our very simple diagram from the previous tutorial. We've got all these different instances of the customer here, and if you're Amazon or something, you've got millions of customers all within this table. Wouldn't it be nice if you could use a single trigger to quickly and accurately distinguish who's who in this massive list? That's where a primary key comes in. A primary key is an attribute, or field, that uniquely identifies every record in a certain table. And since a single attribute can accomplish all that, it makes sense that you'll just need one primary key per entity. So for this customer table, the primary key is going to be a value that makes it so that this customer is unlike any other customer in our table. For one of these attributes to qualify, there are a few rules. First, a primary key has to be unique, so that it identifies only one record in your table. Second, it needs to be never changing. It'd be pretty difficult to keep an accurate record of your customers if you're using an attribute that might not stay consistent. And finally, a primary key needs to be never null. That just means there wouldn't be an occasion where the value could be left blank.
Er zijn dus 3 belangrijke voorwaarden voor zo'n primaire sleutel. Ten eerste, die primaire sleutel, die waarde daarvan, die moet uniek zijn. Ik vergelijk even met bijvoorbeeld een ondernemingsnummer. Elke onderneming heeft een uniek ondernemingsnummer. Als je dat nummer kent, weet je exact over welke onderneming het gaat. Er is geen enkele andere onderneming die hetzelfde nummer heeft. Ten tweede, dat mag nooit veranderen. Een ondernemingsnummer kan inderdaad niet veranderen. Wat wel kan gebeuren is dat die onderneming failliet gaat of stopt en dat die persoon die onderneming opgestart heeft later een nieuwe onderneming start. Maar op zich, dat nummer van die andere onderneming, van die nieuwe onderneming, is niet hetzelfde, is geen verandering van het vorige nummer. En ten derde, en dat zag je staan in het filmpje, de waarde ervan mag nooit leeg zijn. Stond in het Engels 0 met 2 L'en. Niet met 1, met 2 L'en. N-U-L-L. Dat betekent niet het getalletje 0, zoals je per ongeluk in de ondertitel zag staan. Dat betekent wel leeg. Een primaire sleutel, die kan nooit een leeg veld gaan bevatten. Of beter gezegd, als je een veld hebt, dat wil zeggen een kolom, waarvan geldt, dit is de primaire sleutel, wel, dat kan nooit leeg zijn. Een onderneming kan niet opgestart worden zonder ondernemingsnummer. Dat kan niet leeg zijn. Er moet een ondernemingsnummer zijn.
So let's look at a specific customer, like John here, and determine what data might uniquely identify him. Well, you can't rely on names because two totally different customers could very easily share the same first and last name. There's a John Smith here and a John Smith here, but they're two completely different customers, so it's not a unique record in this table. You can't even rely on an address because you could have two separate customers living at the same place. Or a customer could move and then their address changes. So an address isn't unique and breaks the rule of never changing. Same thing for a phone number. So that leaves us with customer ID. By design, any sort of ID is typically programmed to increment for each addition to the table. This customer signs up and is assigned customer ID 30016. Then this customer signs up and is assigned 30017, and so on. You can see how customer ID passes all our rules. John's customer ID will completely identify him as a particular instance in our database, and that value won't ever be repeated in this table. So we're going to make that our primary key. Here's something interesting to think about while we're on this topic. Have you ever tried to create a username for an account and then later wanted to change your username to something else because it was hard to remember or stupid or something, but then you can't because the site won't let you? Well, that's probably because your username is being used as a primary key in that site's database, and primary keys can never change. That's how the site is linking you, the customer, to your account. They don't let you change that primary key because their system relies on it for accurate records. Or how about when you're setting up a new account and you try to create a username but get an error message saying that it's already taken? Again, this could be happening because the username is being used as the primary key, and a primary key can't be repeated. In our example though, we're just using a randomly assigned customer ID number as our primary key. We know this will always be unique and never repeated.